Welcome to the Real Estate Show this weekend on KMED. Pete Belcastro and Joe Brett, the real estate guys, with you here this weekend on a kind of at least a overcast, little rainy, cool weekend in the Rogue Valley as we progress here to the middle part of May. Hard to believe that, isn't it, that May is here? May, was it April showers bring May flowers? So,
and it's
saying goes.
It's going to clear up and get sunny next week. So
I had a great time, by the way, over at the Master Gardeners show, they have at the Expo Park. I was out there last Sunday, and much like the Jackson Soil Water Conservation District classes where you do something hands-on, kind of thing, you learn as you go through the class. Well, there, the Master Gardeners, I bought a bunch of plants, and these were all grown by students in the program to sell at the event.
Cool.
And that's how they raised a bunch of money.
Yeah.
And there was a ton of people there, and you don't realize how many nurseries there are around in the places that grow things and farms and stuff. And it was really cool.
You got cucumbers and zucchini.
I'm trying to find people to grow that for me. Anyway, long story there. Anyway, welcome to the show today, Laurel Adams. She's the owner of All Cities Property Management, and she's our resident expert in all things rental properties in Jackson County. She's also the past president of the Southern Oregon Rental Homeowners Association, on the board, is all those kind of things, and knows more about rentals than, anybody that I know. Anyway, welcome. How you doing today? You made it here. You came up through Phoenix, didn't you, in the freeway?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, there are times you don't want to come up through there. It's really true. It'll take you...
Well, I didn't think this morning would be a problem, but it
10
was.
minutes.
Yeah, 10 minutes. I
got on the freeway. I was meeting Joe yesterday afternoon. I got on the freeway at 2:55, right? And I got to Medford at, 3:45?
Yeah.
I couldn't believe how long that took me to get. Yeah. Well, there was a wreck on the other side of the Phoenix
I heard that.
Interchange. It stopped everything again. Oh, what a mess. Anyway, it was yesterday. Well, anyway, Laurel's back here. Last time we talked, the rental market was just crazy in your office, so busy and everything. Well, here we are, maybe about a month later, 5 weeks later. Tell us what's happening from what you see from the perspective rental markets on the ground right now in property management.
Well, the Friday before last, I moved in between Thursday and Friday. I moved in 9 families to houses.
Wow.
That weekend.
Jeez, okay.
Just that Thursday and Friday alone. And I moved in 3 this week. I have over 300 properties, and I have 2 vacancies, I think, right now, that are ready to rent right now, 2.
We could make this like a radio rental game show right now.
Oh, it is.
Laurel has 2 of her 300 properties vacant. First and the third caller. We'll get to the one over on East Main.
And so I've actually called a couple of my peers at my other property management friends who own companies and said, I've been trying to, I have a couple of my own tenants that have to find places. And I've actually called some of my peers and said, hey, can you help this person? This is a great tenant. They really need to be in the school district, and I don't have anything. And can you help us? So I'm actually helping some of my tenants find places because I don't have anything to move them to because of school district. There's a couple of personal things going on, work and whatnot. So anyway, there isn't anything. And my phones are so busy. And I'm getting now calls from title companies, referrals from real estate offices, telling people call and see if I have anything. My understanding is everybody's in the same boat. There's nobody that is flush with lots of opportunities and choices.
Well, I can remember when we started our show, Joe, in 2009, and the rental rates then were just like they were now. They were under 2%. Remember that? David Wright was with us, and we were doing those things, and the rental rate was really crazy.
Yeah.
And then things seemed to level out for some reason. Remember, the vacancy rate went up. It was like 5%.
Well, that's because a lot of the homes that weren't sold that you guys had listed for sale didn't sell because of the market, so they turned into rentals. So the rental pool was increased.
So the rental pool was increased,
yes.
Thus we had the 5% vacancy rate. There was just more available.
Because property values had fallen, and those landlords couldn't sell those houses.
But in the last,
their values,
not even year.
The last 6 months.
I was going to say the last 6 months we've seen the vacancy rate just plummet to where it's now.
So what's happened?
What's happened in 6 months?
It's actually really simple. It's actually sort of simple.
Sort of simple.
Interest rates are still down.
Yeah.
People that were holding on to rental properties because they could not sell them for what they owed on them have now put them on the market and are being able to get what they had paid for them originally, or make even a little bit of a profit. And so they're taking this opportunity time to get rid of them. So we are vacating our tenants. They are putting them on the market, and they are selling. Period.
Those are the ones that are
so
obviously selling around, and those have been rental properties generally in the past.
Exactly. We're losing our rental pool.
So it's not necessarily that landlords are getting out of the business necessarily, as much as some of them are just having properties that they just had and want to get rid of, that kind of thing.
We do have a small percentage of landlords that have chosen to retire from landlordship, because landlordship is getting more and more government controlled. Like July 1st, the HUD thing comes in. Right. And do you know, I was in Salem several weeks ago for a big property management update class for property managers in offices only, not for just landlords, but for managers of offices, and taught by a well-known attorney in our state. And his comment to us was that this was going to continue, that as far as July 2nd, and he is in direct conversation with the real estate board and with HUD, and they still haven't figured it out yet. There's nothing yet. This is the middle of May?
They haven't figured it out.
They haven't figured it out.
Tell people about this thing. This is we talk about this about the HUD.
Right.
If you own a rental property,
yes,
you need to listen to this because it's important.
As of July 1, you have to accept a HUD voucher. If that tenant has a HUD voucher, you must accept their application and treat them like any other applicant. If they meet your screening guidelines, and all of you landlords out there, if you don't have screening guidelines, you better get with it right now, because you have to prove, and it's going to take one HUD person phone call to Fair Housing to say I was discriminated against, and they will investigate. And if you don't have some kind of a written rationale for how you screen your clients, your prospective tenants, and you don't treat them all the same, and they can prove that you chose them not because they were HUD, you're nailed, and you don't want to pay those prices. Plus, you have to hire an attorney to do it, so you don't want to do that either. I love my attorneys, but who wants to spend thousands and thousands of dollars? So anyway, the HUD thing comes up July 1, but it was supposed to be last January, but they didn't know how they were going to implement the program. So they came up with a program idea, implemented it, and said, okay, this is how we're going to do it, but they haven't done the details to the implementation.
So you still don't know what it is.
So we don't know about, there's certain things about money. There has to be a coffer of money that is available in the city, in the state coffer, that's supposed to be there just for rental properties, so that we as rental owners, if a client destroys our property, we can put in a bill to the state, and the state will reimburse us for that damage.
And that's stayed in, correct?
And that's part of the legislature. That was part of...
That was the incentive thing, or the sweetener thing.
Sweetener to us landlords.
So that would pass.
Exactly.
That was
Only thing is nobody knows how they're going to implement that, and where the money is and where it is coming from.
Go back to the thing which is so important, of treating people the same as you stated here, because that seems to be the real key. That you always say that tenants that you come across in your business know the rules.
They do. Not all of them, most of them.
Not all of them, but a lot of them know the rules, and that a landlord, especially if you do it yourself, versus having someone like hiring you to do this, which is why I would hire you to do this.
But even we make mistakes sometimes.
Well, you can make a mistake too.
Yeah.
But you have
by accident.
You just have to treat everybody equally, and that will save you, right? I mean, that's going to... But you got to have it written down, is what you're saying. You have to write down the questions or the things that you ask.
Yeah, you there's a whole protocol. There's a whole protocol. It's sort of like I don't know. It's just another regulation. It's another thing you have to do. It's fair housing. This isn't state. This is federally funded and federally mandated. So We don't have choices in Oregon. Every state has to do the same thing.
Since you brought up the thing of fair housing, the thing in Ashland is really interesting to me.
Oh, God,
I saw students come in the office the other day when I was in there, asking if we had any rentals. Do you do rentals? And we say, no, we don't do them. Here's a list of, people that you could contact with. And they're just not going to get anything. So they bring up fair housing to students. What would that mean if that was added to the Ashland fair housing rules? And the city can do that, right?
Students want to be acted.
Well, that's a proposal. That's a proposal. That's in the planning stages right now.
But if
they want to become a protected class,
right? In rental housing, because they feel they're discriminated against.
Right.
Are they? And the place goes quiet. I think the two of you.
Well,
I don't know. I think they are. Personally, I've seen too many students just rejected because you're a student. And I heard landlords say, they destroy my house. I don't want students in there. So you really got a problem with this. And it's not going away. When you say they're discriminated against, I don't discriminate against students, but I discriminate by my screening guidelines. So, come on. If you're going to rent from me, you have to prove you have money. Mm-hmm. You have to prove that you can pay the rent. If you don't have a job and your parents are paying your bills, unless I have them co-sign, I can't rent to that person. And I don't like co-signers because here's what happens. It happened to me once, and that was enough. Student moves in. Father says, oh, yeah, no problem. The kid turns into drugs, drops out of school, destroys the property. So I go after the father. Now, the father who thought I was just the most wonderful person to rent to his son suddenly says, I don't want anything to do with this. And I said, but you co-signed. He started in and said, well, you have to come get me. I'm in California. So good luck. That means I have to hire someone in California to go find the father. Come on, you guys. Is that fair to me? He just discriminated against me, the landlord. See, that's the experience that you have that says that,
So I've been discriminated against.
Yeah.
So do I like students? Sure, I love students. Do I rent to students? You bet I do. But I screen them, and I make sure they have money. And if they don't have money, I say, well, your parents will have to pay an extra month's worth of rent. So if you want this place, the rent is $700. Your security deposit is $1,100, plus you have to pay an extra $700 worth of rent. So you have a $2,000 security deposit. I will rent to you for $2,000 of security deposit. There's no criminal. You have no drugs. You have nothing. You have no credit, debt problems, credit to debt ratio, and you have no liens. You have no foreclosures. Everything looks good. But you owe me $2,000 for a security deposit. That way, if you screw up, I got $2,000, and I hope and would love to return your money to you. And I even give them incentive. I'll tell you what I said. You guys leave my property healthy and clean and well taken care of, and I will write you a letter of recommendation that will help propel you to the next rental so that you can get a rental easier the next time.
Sure, coming from a real estate, from a property management like yourself, that would make sense.
On my letterhead.
Yeah. That's good. That's actually absolutely good incentive.
So now, am I discriminating against students? Is that discrimination?
Yeah, that's no. The way you
that's
describe
giving them.
That.
This is how you have to behave, and this is what I'm willing to do to propel you forward to your future.
I like that.
I have a burning question.
Okay.
We're growing in this valley.
Oh gosh, yes.
And we have our rental pool is shrinking, and we're in dire need of rental property. Where's the opportunity? Who's going to take advantage of that opportunity? Are we going to see more apartments and duplexes? How are we going to meet the demands for this rental market and for the growth
for rental properties
that's going to come? And when are we going to start to see it kind of working through the machinations of the planning commissions and kind of
we have one.
I wish the home builders were here.
I have an answer.
Okay,
we have one major problem. Babies keep being born. Okay, so what we have is we have couples with children, and apartments and two-story apartment buildings and apartment complexes
are not good places
for kids in general.
Yeah.
Parents don't like it. Children don't like it. It creates trauma within the units. We need single-family small dwellings or duplexes and triplexes and fourplexes with a little tiny yard or some place for kids to play. That's what we're missing. We have apartments. We have small units.
We have a lot of apartments.
We have a lot of condos. Yeah. But they're not necessarily family, what's the word?
Family-oriented?
Family-oriented or family-friendly. That's the word.
Family-friendly.
Yeah. So sure, you guys, we can build more, but what we need to build, the builders don't want to build because it's not cost effective. Because guess what? The local planning departments in the city of Medford, the city of Central Point, they have all these codes and all these little rules out for these builders, and they can't make any money. Mm-hmm. So if the builders can't make money, why would they build that kind of units? So
and
it's
that's what's not going up.
And that's not, these builders are just getting socked. They can't make money.
And the builders are generally building single-family housing because people are getting loans in order to do that, and so they're building that way.
So
but the other ones are not.
I'm sorry. I'm taking the bill. I'm going to take the builders' front on this one.
Well, I don't know what you do. How do you meet the demand, Joe? It's a good question.
I doubt you see those SDCs and those charges and fees go down or go away.
They're not coming down.
No, in fact, they're going up.
But we got a problem here with this, with rental housing here. We're going to see it. And the bad part, now the rents are going to go sky high here because there's supply and demand.
How do we support the workforce that we need to grow and go forward?
All right.
We can't afford it.
Hey, we're with Laurel Adams from All Cities Property Management. All things property management, back after this. All Cities Property Management is now part of the Real Estate Show. All Cities covers all phases in residential management of homes, condos, apartments, duplexes to fourplexes, and homeowner associations. For photos and visual tours of available properties, visit them online, allcitiesprop.com. Accurate accounting and tenant screenings, professionally done showings, and a full-time staff are all reasons why All Cities is #1 in owner and renter satisfaction. Call them at 245-8811.
Hoping to sell a home in today's real estate market? Wondering if it's the right time to buy? Get the facts from RE/MAX.
RE/MAX Ideal Brokers of Medford and Grants Pass invite you to take advantage of our residential, rural, and commercial real estate experts in the local markets. Visit us at idealbrokersinc.com to search for properties or find an agent.
Nobody sells more real estate than RE/MAX. Find out what RE/MAX can do for you. Where do you want to be? Each office independently owned and operated.
Rogue Valley residents are changing the way we view and use land and water. And with our climate in flux, the Jackson Soil Water Conservation District is needed now more than ever to assist rural and urban landowners in managing our lands. Visit our website at jswcd.org. Learn how to put up rain barrel catchment systems, manage pasture and small woodlands, or even learn how to deal with drought conditions on your land. The Jackson Soil Water Conservation District is dedicated to enhancing the value of your property. Most services are free. Knowledge gained, priceless.
Managing rental properties takes a person with special skills to mediate landlord-tenant relations, a person knowledgeable of the laws governing fair housing, and there's a lot of them, and a person with experience and a track record of success. It's fair to say that Laurel Adams, owner of All Cities Property Management, is that type of person. Landlords trust her advice, tenants know they're treated fairly. I wouldn't trust my rental property management to anybody but Laurel Adams and her staff at All Cities Property Management. To view available rentals, visit them at allcitiesprop.com.
If you're thinking about spraying fertilizer on your garden all summer, here's a better idea. Hilton Landscape supplies natural, custom-formulated composts, like Hilton's Topper Mix No. 10, Chet's Mix, Super Chet's Mix, or Compost Plus. Mix that into your soil before or after planting, and there'll be no need to spray the blue stuff. Hilton's composts are alive with microbes and constantly tested and monitored for consistent quality. Go to the gardener's source, Hilton Landscape Supply. Take Blackwell Road, exit 35, and head 2 miles north. Open Sundays 9 to 3.
Don't let time tick away while you do nothing. In the last few years, that's what many businesses did about advertising. Nothing. Because they cut their advertising budgets. So what ended up in their pockets? You guessed it. Right now, you're listening to radio, and that's something. So visit this website when it's convenient and learn how easy it is to advertise on radio. And see the study on the top online marketing trends for 2014. It's really something, too.
Don't wait any longer. Make this moment count for something. Visit medfordadvertising.com.
Who is the only new car dealership to offer a 3-day money-back guarantee? Crater Lake Ford on Bill Road in Medford.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lillian Wu. Arkansas issuing its first gay marriage licenses after a ban was overturned yesterday.
People may be slower to come around in Arkansas, but I see it happening.
Gay rights proponent Eric McDaniel, the state constitution amended 10 years ago.
When voters by a 3-to-1 margin approved the ban, the president of the Family Council says the ruling is another example of a judge's personal preference replacing the will of the people.
Fox News Radio's Ron Flatter. A massive effort underway to try and rescue scores of Nigerian schoolgirls kidnapped by Islamists.
They are flying fairly constant sorties over the skies of the Sambisa forest. They've already done 250 I'm told. They've got a signals unit on the ground. They've got a large contingent of police. There's a multinational task force.
Alex Crawford with Fox Sister Network Sky News. Fox News, we report, you decide.
The Real Estate Show rolls on here on KMED this weekend. Thanks for being with us. Pete and Joe, the real estate guys, with you. And, well, there's lots going on, that's for sure, around the Rogue Valley. Hope you're going to have a good weekend coming up. And we progress through the month of May, heading towards June. School's going to be out pretty soon. And, summer's going to almost be here. And all that good stuff. I like that.
I want to wish my son Joey's wife, Elizabeth, a happy Mother's Day tomorrow, and wish all the moms a happy Mother's Day.
That's right, Mother's Day tomorrow.
Elizabeth has our granddaughter Olivia. It's her first Mother's Day.
Yeah?
With Olivia, who's 6 months old, so we're really excited for that. So happy Mother's Day to all you moms out there.
Yeah, absolutely. It's always a cool day. It's like the number one calling day of the year.
Yeah.
Remember that in the old days it used to be. I'm sure now we call all the time, but in the old days, Mother's Day, you couldn't even get through. Remember, you call your mom, you couldn't get through. Anyway, that's a long time ago, isn't it? How things have changed.
You are really old.
I know that.
It's been years since I was able to get away with that with my mom on Mother's Day. I called so late.
Absolutely. Anyway, so we're with Laurel Adams. She's the owner of All Cities Property Management and our resident property management expert here on the Real Estate Show. And well, so far we've heard today we have the vacancy rate is like almost gone. I mean, you can't get in. You only have 2 available rentals out of over 300 properties that you manage.
It's either 2 or 3.
That's amazing.
It's it, yeah.
We're hearing that the inventory is declining still, which is not good for rental properties. And the rents are going to go up. Are rents going up? Are you seeing this already? Or what do you landlords say to you? But you don't have any. The key to this whole thing is not to have renters move out. I mean, keep them as long as you can, right? So that way it's less cost. It's easier for you. It's easier for the landlord, right? Is that the goal?
We are raising some rents. So we're raising some rents on people that were where the rent amount has already been very low.
Okay.
Or they've been there a long time and we haven't raised their rent.
That happens a lot.
So I am generally one of those people that doesn't like to raise rent until that person moves out and goes on. Because I feel like if someone stays and they're a good tenant, that we want to keep them.
That's worth
something. I like
it.
that. I mean, to me, that's what I would do too. If I have someone in there, and I've got commercial renters in my buildings, and I'm that way too. I mean, I want them to stay there, and I don't have to raise the rent every year to do that, because I would rather have them stay. Because when one of them left, boy, what a the income stops coming in, and then it takes so much effort and so much time and money to get somebody to replace them.
Aren't you wonderful to live and work with during that time?
Well, but here's the issue. When you take the amount of time that in between tenancies and all the things that it takes to fix that up, to make it ready for the next tenant, that you cannot charge the old tenant for. You cannot charge the old tenant for normal wear and tear.
Normal wear and tear.
Right. So you got to sort of do some fixing up, and some of it you might be able to charge the old tenant for, but some of it it has to be paid for by the owner.
Mm-hmm.
So when you add that all in, and then you raise the rent $25, $35, $45, and you amortize that over a year, you didn't make anything.
Mm-hmm. It's not very much.
You didn't really come out ahead. So in most cases, I look at the rent, look at the people, and discuss with the owner the probability of that tenant walking, and or what kind of a tenant it is and how abusive they are on the house, and what kind of things I foresee as far as needed repairs and that are going to be needed in the near future. And we assess all of those things, put that all into the bucket, and make a decision.
Mm-hmm.
Period.
And that's a smart way to do it.
Yeah, you have to look at the whole picture.
Now what's the deal with satellite dishes? You came in here, you was talking to Laurel on the phone, so we're going to talk about this. We started about satellite dishes, and I couldn't. What satellite dishes? That would be not a rental issue. Okay, it is.
It is a huge rental issue.
It's
my biggest headache.
And a lot of people are mad at Charter right now too. So you have more dishes popping up.
I would think that a lot of issues that you'd have to face with. You do like wear and tear, appliances breaking. Getting calls in the middle of the night. Satellite dishes is not one of them that I would put in that top list. Okay, so what's the issue with that?
Well, the satellite dish itself is not the issue. It's who is putting them on and in, and where they place them, how they place them. That is the issue.
Oh.
So in 1966, the FCC directed Congress to adopt a set of rules regarding the restrictions, what you can and cannot restrict with these satellite dishes, because that's when the whole satellite industry came into fruition. Okay. By 1999, the rental housing was included in that. Mm-hmm. So they finally came up and they said that the homeowner and or homeowners association has the right. There's some kind of They have the right to, and here's what you can restrict. You can restrict the size to 30 inches in diameter. Okay. You can restrict the placement, and the tenant has to remove it when they vacate the unit. Okay. Number 2, it must be installed by a professional, a licensed professional who installs digital, those digital. Excuse me.
I install stuff around my house all the time.
So let me finish. You guys have to listen to the rest.
Okay, all right.
They can only be installed in an area where the tenant has, are you ready for this word? Exclusive control. That's very important. Exclusive control. That means where the tenant has control of that property. So, for instance, if I rent to you a house, you have control of the whole yard, and of the house and the roof and everything, right? Mm-hmm. But if you live in a homeowners association and that homeowners association covers the roof, that the homeowner association pays for the roof and the siding and the painting. The tenant does not have exclusive control of the outside of the building. Okay. Are you with me?
Yeah.
Same thing with an apartment.
Okay. All right.
So when you're living in an apartment, you have the exclusive right of your apartment, your unit, your patio, or your balcony. But you do not have exclusive right to any common area.
Any common area, sure. Right. You can't put it out in okay.
So, and if you do put in a dish, you have to remove it when you're out, when you leave, when you move out. Mm-hmm. And this is what's starting to happen now. Complexes are putting in what they call a central common antenna or central satellite.
Central satellite, yes. That makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm. And I did that one in one of the homeowners associations for one of the buildings. So if they install, and most of the companies now will go put one in free because they know that if they put one in there, everybody will sign up.
Everybody's going to come to it.
Yeah. So if they put one in, then the tenant has to use that one.
Mm-hmm. And not your own. Not your own individual.
Exactly.
And then you're charged out of the homeowners association or something charges you for that for the use.
Well, the way they have it set up, everyone gets charged individually.
Everybody's charged individually. Yeah. Okay.
So anyway, here's where the issues come in. The issues come in, and you guys would so love this story. This is a true story. 2 women, their favorite hobby was football. Okay. Now there's only one place you can get football, right? Dish.
On the direct TV. If you want the NFL package, the Sunday package, okay.
So they could only see their games, and it wasn't on charter.
Right.
So they're living in a condominium complex. Condominium complex has no satellite dishes. Uh-huh. Well, I didn't think about it, so they went ahead and put a dish up there. And the dish was up there for 6-7 months. And finally I get a call one day from the manager, and they said, you have to, there's a satellite dish up there. I go, I told them they could put it there because it's not on the roof, and it's not attached to the side. It's attached underneath the roof onto wood.
I like it. So should be good.
I have in my rental contract, I have a 1.5-page document that tells the tenant what they can and cannot do with a satellite dish. And they did exactly what I told them to do. It's hardly seen, but they tell me it has to come down. So I call the tenant, and they go, but it's football season. Okay,
that's important.
This is their most important thing. Yeah. So anyway, I fought with the
homeowner association.
With the homeowners. It's a single owner owned most of the units. He actually called an attorney. His attorney basically said to me, "Tough luck," and I said, "No, you guys can't do that." So anyway, we agreed that they would take it down after football season. So that's how it was rectified. But here's the thing. The rule is, and that lawyer is a local lawyer, I know who he is wrong. And this is the point I want to make to people. If you have someone that wants a satellite or a dish, they have to be able to get it. Okay, you cannot deny them. You can't
deny it to them.
You can't deny it. You do have the right to tell them where to put it.
Okay, that's the difference.
You see the difference?
How you put it in,
and
where you put it in.
And you cannot put it in a common area.
And you can't put it in a common area.
Right.
And what if I don't like the carrier dish network that they choose in my condo? I'm out of luck.
You're out of luck.
You're out of luck on that one. Sorry.
You're out of luck.
Hey, the Real Estate Show rolls on. We're with Laurel Adams from All Cities Property Management. Our last segment will take your calls at 770-5633. If you have anything about rental properties, she's here to answer them. We're coming right back after this. Real Estate Show rolls on here on KMED this weekend. Pete Belcastro and Joe Brett, the real estate guys, with you. And thanks for being with us this weekend. This show repeats at 9 o'clock Sunday morning right here on AM 1440. And all of our shows are available at realestateshoworegon.com and at YouTube. Got our own YouTube channel, Real Estate Show Oregon. That's all you got to go to, and away you go. So anyway, that's how technology just continues to amaze as we find out today.
I'm going to even learn how to post all that on YouTube so we can.
One of these days, that would really be good.
That's called populating your YouTube channel.
Populating
with content.
Populate with content.
You know where we're going right after the show?
No.
The nearest minute market or lottery outlet that we can find.
Why?
I want Powerball tickets.
Oh, and is it a biggie?
I need about $400 million because I'm going to go out. I'm going to go out and I'm going to build residential rental neighborhoods.
There you go. Yeah.
Over in Southeast Medford, and they're just going to be for renters.
For renters.
And let's do some 55 and older.
Yeah, absolutely.
We need to do some for yeah. There's no place for these people to go.
Age-friendly homes. Absolutely. I would. You'd have a gold mine.
Well, we're not for
years to come if you could meet that need.
Well, as we talk about this, there is a big need for that. Yep. You're right. Over 55 and older, people, especially people who leave their homes. Big homes want to be smaller places and stuff. It's tough to find them.
That's not the problem. The problem is I have this problem in my rental pool. I get calls for 55 and older, but they have to be able to buy rent with their Social Security check. Mm. Do you know how much people are getting for? We're talking. Most of these people are living on $1,200 to $1,600 a month, and then Medicare keeps going up, and then their insurance goes up, their health care insurance, secondary. So they have like $1,200 disposable income left, and where are they going to rent for $1,200 and eat at the same time
and
pay out
utilities
and pay out of pocket for their prescriptions?
Yeah. Well, in Ashland, this is the thing in terms of utilities. The average, they're going to want to raise utility bills by 10%. The average will now be $167 a month.
That's ludicrous.
I almost can't afford this anymore.
I know.
And this is what we're finding as we go along. And property taxes, go up, and people want more, and away we go. So it's really a tough balancing act, as you well know.
Ask me how I feel about my property tax bill on May 21st.
On May 21st? Yeah. Well, are you getting a new one or something?
Well, that's the day after the election.
Oh, the day after the election, yeah. I guess whether it's going up or staying the same or going up a little bit, I guess is what it is. Well, Laurel, before we get out of here, and we want you to continue in all the good work that you do and all the rental properties. So what should people do here, I guess, if you're looking? What is your advice to them? There's nothing. It's so minuscule of inventory. The housing. It's funny because the housing has increased. Inventory has increased. It's almost 13% higher right now than it was a year ago. The available inventory. But if we look at rentals, that available inventory has shrunk.
Right.
So what do people do here? Well, what's your advice?
Well, another issue that we haven't mentioned is we had a lot of people that were all moving in together about 2 years ago.
Oh, sure.
So we had a lot of people living together.
Right. People were moving to try to save money. There were no jobs, and some of those kids came home, things like that.
Well, the economy's gotten a little better, right?
A little better.
So guess what?
They're moving out?
They're separating.
They're starting
again.
to move out again.
Yeah, so we have a lot of separation. So we have people that are, the kids that are living with their parents are now getting their own place. They've saved some money, paid off their debt, got their life in order. So now we're actually seeing that people sort of separating into their own little places again, too. So that's another component that we didn't mention earlier. What do you do? It's really interesting. I think that we as an American society are going to have to reevaluate our needs, wants, and desires. Okay. And I think that people are going to have to stop, get rid of some of their crap, their stuff. Example is, and you guys know this, most rentals that have, everyone says they want a garage. Right? They want a single or double car garage. Well, guess what? 80% of those garages aren't full of cars. What are they full of?
Full stuff.
We need to get rid of our stuff. People need to start living in smaller places and be able to afford what they can. So, gosh, I don't mean to sound sort of negative, but really, I'm seeing that a lot of people are moving to bigger places that they probably don't need, and we're probably going to have to start to learn to live with a little bit less space, and learn to accommodate within your home, your space. I went to Ireland last June, and I had fun going to an appliance shop. This appliance shop had refrigerators, washers, and dryers, and dishwashers and sinks that were completely different shapes and sizes than ours. And they were so darn functional. And I wanted all those appliances in my house because of the way the size and the shape. And I'm going, what is wrong with us? Why don't we have these products, these size of products? They're totally functional, they're space saving, and yet you can stick as much food in that refrigerator as you can in the ones I have at home. But they're completely designed differently. So here we go. We're going back to the fact that we are going to have to be living in smaller spaces and being able, so what are people going to do? What I'm hearing clients say is, I guess I'm not going to be able to get everything I want. I'm going to have to settle. And so what I try to do is try to extract from them what are the most important things. What are your absolute needs? What are the things that you need the most? And then I try to help them locate those properties. I don't have much to choose from, but I also help them to envision, like you guys do, when you take people to go to sell a home, I have to help my tenants envision how to make this place work. So they go, like for instance, they said, I need a home office. I go, great, this doesn't have an extra room. Let me show you. The way it's designed, you can have an office space. Let's go look at it. Let me show you what I mean. So you have to help people visualize how to create a different space. And I think that's where we're going. People don't know how to create different spaces.
And here's another option that's out there for people looking for rentals and are frustrated with that, is that the interest rates in housing and buying is still low.
Oh, that's right.
And that option
first-time buyers.
And first-time buyers, you may be able to buy, because there's still a lot of properties in that 75 to 100 and 200,000 range that come open a lot. That maybe that's an option if you can't find a rental anymore, that this may be a way to do that maybe you haven't thought of. And that's just an option.
And then that lady Laurel doesn't come by with a vacate notice because your landlord wants to sell his property.
That reminds me, if there's tenants or people that are wanting to purchase a home, I have a lot of tenants that I actually refer them to mortgage companies to have an assessment done on their credit.
Absolutely.
So they can start repairing their credit and get ready to purchase a home. So they need to be in that mode also.
The two have to work. We have to work together. The rental and the selling of homes and together. Well, you see what we've had today. Look at this. I hope you learned something today from Laurel. Thank you for being here. And of course, All Cities Property Management. You can call Laurel anytime. She'll be happy to answer any questions. Joe, we'll see you next Saturday as well.
6 hot numbers between 0 and 50.
All right, I don't know that we're out of time. Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Original Real Estate Show with Pete Belcastro and Joe Brett, the Real Estate Guys. For advice, guidance, or counsel on any of our topics, or to watch a replay of today's show, visit our website at realestateshoworegon.com. This show is sponsored by RE/MAX, Ideal Brokers of Southern Oregon, Ticor Title, All Cities Property Management, and the Jackson Soil and Water Conservation District. We'll continue our weekly quest to enhance the value of your property and to make you a smart real estate consumer when we gather every Saturday and Sunday on KMED for the one and only Original Real Estate Show.